Good morning, everybody. How are you? Lovely to see you. I'm here with this week's energies, and I've got a puffing dog in the background because it's so humid here. They were up all night last night, and it turned out that I gave the dogs a bone, and then Simon gave the dogs a bone. So I think they're also struggling with that too. So excuse the panting, and you may hear a bit of clambering on the roof, but we've got some rain coming through there, thank goodness. And Simon is clambering on the roof, getting the leaves out of all the gutters, because we harvest our own water here in the Northern Rivers. Not everybody does, but we do because we live on farm, and yeah, we don't get town water out here, and in some ways I'm really glad about that. Anyway, yeah, I've just been tuning into the energies for the week, and they're quite interesting. And I'm going to read these cards in a slightly different way because they want to be read in a slightly different way. So those of you who have the deck and have the book, just know that, you know, if you read a particular card in a particular way, I always say to you, be open to what comes through. I've given you my experience and the guidance that I'm attaching to that card. I don't like to use the word attaching, but that's relevant to that card. But you must also listen to what's coming up for you too, because there could be something there for you. So just always just tune into your experience. Okay, this is me just sharing my experience, and it's almost like a mirror for you to kind of, work with, going, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I can feel that too, or oh, something's coming up for me. It's a permission to really tune into what's coming up for you. Okay, so the theme for the week is Danad. Many of you know my card. Danad is for sovereignty. Now, this is slightly different because Danad, this space, this rock, which is in Argyllshire in Scotland, is actually the place where Scottish kings were inaugurated, and it's like the coronation that the king is going to have in the UK. This was what they used to do. The foot would go in that hole there. It's like curved out, the same way to the McGinty card, which is popping up as well, but it's curved out. It's been deliberately curved out, carved and carved out in the stone. And I'm not sure of the significance of the lines that are in there, whether they actually cross with particular stars, or whether they're ley lines that they were tuning into. I don't know. That knowledge is not there. But all I know is this is where Scottish kings were, inaugurated into the power. And sometimes, because society has lost, our culture has lost, especially for women, okay, a lot, and not just for men as well, and everything in between, the whole non-binary spectrum, the whole queer spectrum. We've lost our understanding of how we were all placed in our communities, what our roles were. And because we've been given this very sort of small template. It's almost like in a school system where people are tested on a very small, tiny little mainstream testing system that doesn't pick everybody else's gifts up, that might not show up in particular having those strengths in that system. So this is saying that it was really interesting because I was doing some readings at the weekend, and I had said to this younger woman who was had her paintings there, that I felt I was a sort of self-anointed elder. because a lot of my clients feel like, certainly for some younger woman, I feel like, I'm an elder that's sharing my stories, my knowledge, and sharing my lived experience, so people can go, oh yeah, you don't, be aware of these pitfalls, be aware of this is how I've found my strength, and how I find meaning in my life. And if it helps you, great, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Well, that's just to come shooting up there, just ignore that. So Danad really is like, where can you self-anoint yourself into a space that, people don't really understand or know about, just because it's not featured in the mainstream doesn't mean it's not relevant, doesn't mean it doesn't have its place here. If you're feeling it, then it needs to be shared and given its own space. And I was talking about this with a few of the community organizers for the event, saying that, we need to make space on the bench in the canteen, for the different people that we see in the world. We need to go, oh, I don't know who you are and I don't know what you represent, but I'm interested because I've not seen somebody like you before or heard somebody talking like you before. So let me make space for this at the table, versus hell no, you're not sitting here. Move on, move on, move on, which comes from a place of fear. So, can you self-anoint your gifts, and go that, what, if they're coming through me, they're relevant, okay? And just because I don't see a lot of that out there doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that we've had this very strict, very controlling narrative of how the world operates. And in order to shift and change that landscape, we need to allow what's in us to come out of us, which is why I love being in the company of creators, because it doesn't matter what you're creating and how you're creating it. Simon in his water tank. It doesn't matter. It's that you are honoring what is there, okay, by revealing it. So that's the theme for the week. How can we prepare? We've got Mount Ruapehu. And, as many of you know, this is an active volcano in New Zealand. And people live in that area, This is that, like, change is always here. It's always here. It's always here. No day is the same. No moment is the same. We never look the same. Everything is changing all the time. And the trust comes from understanding that the more comfortable you are with uncertainty, and the more that you trust that everything that's arising in your presence is actually for you, okay, is to help you expand your heart, expand your consciousness, expand everything. And that when we kind of go, no, when we're in these contracted states of control and tension and fear, that we're living a half life, maybe a quarter life, because we're not trusting that we're in co-creation with something other than ourselves. It's not just us that's bringing, there is another energy that exists, that's always working for our highest potential. And can we really make space for that too today, as we prepare for this sort of week of feels like, it doesn't feel like expansion. It feels like it's not an expansive energy. It's a very sort of I don't know energy. It's a very kind of samey energy. But there's a change, and it's really subtle, which is maybe why we've got Meginda. It's like that. I feel like there's something that's changing within this planet, the land, and that is impacting us. Okay, that is changing us, and there's nothing we can do about it because we can't control, all what's going on underneath us, can we? We can't control that. And we stand on the ground, we live on the ground, we're attached to the ground by gravity, we're deeply connected with this energy. And so can we just this week allow ourselves to grow through that process that it's going through? Our minds cannot understand this. This has nothing to do with, reading a 5-step guide on how to, that's just so not where this is at. It's so not where it's so beyond the mind. So if I'm even you can probably feel in this reading, I'm feeling like I'm not very grounded in the reading. Well, that's kind of where we are this week. We're in this slightly energy, but we do have Myrtle Cottage, which is my grounding card, grounding and a sort of an anchoring and safety. And I feel like that's what comes out of this, because we're making space for this very kind of awkward and uncomfortable place, where, you invite somebody new, you say, oh, hi, welcome, come and sit down. And then you go, oh, shit, I don't know if I can handle this. This is going to be really awkward. And then you start asking somebody, and then, naturally, when we're going from this very heart open place, we're always looking at how we can connect where we have, commonalities. And often as humans, where we have the most common, narratives is in our shame stories, in our struggle, in our suffering. It's not in the, on the mountaintops, because not everybody, has that experience of, being in, the top of Mount Everest. But we all know what the valleys feel like, and that is often where we find the commonality. And so this week it's really about going, can we make space for that sort of that in-betweeny place, for the unknown? I can't even find words to describe the energy around this week. Okay, it just feels like there's nothing tangible. It's not been experienced before. It's just very new and different, and it's coming up. It's coming up through our feet, and it's just going to have its way with us. And we just have to look after ourselves and breathe through it, and just allow it to purify us and activate parts of us. I've come out in a bit of a cold sore this week. I'm just like, well, sometimes that's just what's going on. So can we just allow this energy this week to just be in the room with us? I feel like this card is so powerful. It's like what we get to choose, what we anoint as sacred. We get to choose. Nobody else does. Society doesn't, the news doesn't, whatever Instagram doesn't, all the things, doesn't get to decide what's relevant and not relevant. If it's alive within you, it's relevant and it's divine, and it's looking to be expressed, okay, even if it's not been expressed before. So that's this week. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to have to watch this reading again, because I'm not even sure what it what it means. The cards just feel very different this week. They've got energetically, they feel a bit different. Yeah, they're just a little bit like this, whereas normally they're quite really clear. This week they're like, I'm not so sure. There's something else. There's something else here. There's something else here that's looking to emerge, and can we make space for it? Basically, this week. Sending you lots of love as always.